Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we are going to talk about Rudy over on Alpha Investments. I'll explain who this guy is, just in case, and I'll link, so I'm referring to one particular video he did, and I'll link below, all right? So let me explain who Rudy from Alpha Investments is, and then I'll talk about this video he did. And the subject of this video, you guys are so patient with me. I'm going to tell you the point of my video at the very beginning, give you, and that way you guys can decide, hey, is this for me, or do I want to go watch Dungeons & Dragons? I want you to spend your time where you want to be, right? Like, I don't keep anybody captive here. All right, let's go. All right, so the point of this video is that I've been telling you, Dungeons & Dragons is not what you think. And I truly believe, because of what Gary Gygax accomplished in 1974, Dungeons & Dragons is a chamber of secrets. And not only is it a bridge for every human to explore identity, narrative, and language, but it also is innovating intellectual property connection in ways that are so complex, people who are looking right at the product cannot see what's happening in hyper close detail, right? And so, in my humble opinion, Gary Gygax snuck the most powerful secular engine for human flourishment. He snuck it to the world. Here's your chocolate, no broccoli here, as a game, because he knew nobody wanted to go sit with some sad sack psychologist for $200 an hour and have them answer questions with questions. And he knew that nobody wanted to have to read self-help books because the judgment you get when you go in, and you even go into the section in the books in the bookstore, oh, are you an alcoholic, are you and all this horrible judgment that shouldn't be there but is, right? Like the second you go over into Barnes & Noble in the self-help book, they're like, oh, I wonder if that person is low self-esteem, if they're an alcoholic, if they struggle with XYZ issue, and you just feel judgment the moment you walk into the section. And the judgment is there. Everybody's looking over, whoa, I wonder what that person's... It's terrible. And he knew he needed to help the world. And I think he built this human flourishment engine that looks like something that's joyful, right? But in reality, it's incredibly beneficial, right? But Dungeons & Dragons is still carrying secrets today that Rudy from Alpha Investments is woefully ignorant of, but massively impact his life, right? It's fascinating, right? And so I want to get you all the way there, all right? So Rudy from Alpha Investments is I'm not kidding. I'm kidding. In my humble opinion, he's a low millionaire, right? He's probably got $1 to $10 million, right, from selling Magic the Gathering cards. And 5-10 years ago, you'd go on his cute little channel and you'd be like, oh, look at this little binder. I got all these cards, thousands of dollars of cards here. Now this dude sits in warehouses and says, oh, you want, and it's so funny because he used to have like these gorgeous binders, and he would just kind of float through these binders with all these sparkly Magic cards. And now he's like, no sparkly Magic cards. Look behind me, fool. There are cardboard boxes filled with unopened Magic the Gathering, right? And so his flex has gone from beautiful shiny binder to look at this, right? And moving from this beautiful shiny binder to like literally the cardboard boxes are the flex, and they are filled with 1 year, 2 year, 10-year-old Magic the Gathering unsealed product, right? And he is selling this stuff for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars a year, in my humble opinion, right? It is incredible what is actually happening with Alpha Investments. And so Rudy's over there, and he's like, hey, everybody, look at my Magic the Gathering stuff. What he doesn't understand is he doesn't even own Magic the Gathering anymore. All he owns is Dungeons & Dragons components, right? Now, just like everybody else whose fate is like integrally tied to Wizards of the Coast, right? He gets frustrated with Wizards of the Coast because they make moves that he doesn't want them to move. So he makes these jokes all the time. He's like, oh, and I can tell you right now, like he's just like everybody else who makes their living on Wizards of the Coast, right? He's like, oh, I wish it wasn't them. I wish Flesh and Blood would be successful. Flesh and blood ain't. Nobody cares about flesh and blood. Nobody cares about MetaZoo. Nobody cares about all this nonsense that these other MTG cards, these other CCG cards that don't sell, right? Like, nobody cares, right? But he's just like Bob Worldbuilder. He wants any, Bob Worldbuilder wants any tabletop role playing game to win, but D&D. And Rudy from Alpha Investments legit makes his money, but you can just see he's so frustrated with the product, right? And where's the goodwill? Where's the goodwill for Magic the Gathering, right? But what's fascinating is, so he's like, oh, I owe literally every bit of my success to Wizards of the Coast, but I hate them with a burning passion, right? It's kind of like his internal monologue, in my opinion. And so I want to escape them. And what's like, I could just. There's so much joy that wells up in my soul when I see how secretive and how powerfully, transformatively successful Dungeons & Dragons is at a level that is so powerful and so non-intuitive that it can't even be understood by people who are looking it right in the face, right? So Rudy starts this video where he opens Ikora packs, right? Now, if you don't know, I went heavy on Ikora, and I bought a ton of it because it's one of the best Magic the Gathering realms for Dungeons & Dragons. So, your Dungeons & Dragons is already locked, like click, 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 locked to Magic the Gathering. And I'm talking locked, right? Theros, Ravnica, Strixhaven, there's another one in there. Dominaria, Kaladesh. These are canon. These are canon, right, to D&D, right? So, and then basically everything that on Magic. So, many of the Magic Gathering worlds are canon, right? But because Magic Gathering, Warhammer, the spells that bring forward your Space Marine is literally the same magic that Professor Onyx is using to cast spells on Arcavios, Strixhaven, canon in D&D, canon in Magic. So it's either canon or it's connected, right? And so what's wild is he's going through these Ikoria packs, which is a great realm for Dungeons & Dragons, and I've used a lot of the creatures and the non-player characters in there in my D&D campaigns already, right? So Rudy doesn't understand, right, that Ikoria, right, is not Magic the Gathering packs. Those are just Dungeons & Dragons components, right? They're cards that represent non-player characters and locations and equipment that are already being used by Dungeon Masters, because Magic Gathering and D&D are locked, canon locked, right? And so the realm, every Magic the Gathering realm is either canon or it's connected, right? Like, and he doesn't have any clue of this, right? And that's not even the part I want to tell you about, right? So he's frustrated with Wizards of the Coast. And so he's a playful guy. He does some cool, fun things to just kind of interact with his people. And so he'll tease them every now and then. And he made a joke on the people who watch his channel, but what was so amazing was the joke was on him, right? He doesn't know. He's so ignorant, and D&D is so filled with secrets and so incredibly complex and non-intuitive that people who are looking it straight in the eye can't see it. They can't see the connection. So Rudy starts the video, and before he even gets to the Ikoria cards, right? He has in the shot Lego sets, right? Not D&D Lego sets. You gotta wait a minute for that. They're coming, okay? The official Lego D&D, Dragon's Keep, Journey's End. That is the set that will connect every Dungeons & Dragons realm to every single Lego world that exists. Literally and figuratively. Click, click, click. Like, the second we have those official D&D Lego guys, they can go to every other official, they can literally connect as miniatures and terrain and make every single thing ever built for Lego as a Dungeons & Dragons realm connected. That's powerful. That is powerful, right? And so Rudy is saying, he shows a Millennium Falcon, and he shows a James Bond car, and he shows an architecture set, and he's like, I promise, guys, I'm not going to make this a Lego collectibles channel. And he's making a joke, like, he's like, oh, I'm so frustrated with Wizards of the Coast. I'm going to go where Wizards of the Coast isn't. And I'm going to escape Wizards of the Coast. And I'm like, you fool, you don't even get it. You don't understand that the place you're going to escape is
already subsumed, already taken, already connected to Wizards of the Coast. Every single set of Lego belongs to Dungeons and Dragons. Do you understand that? Right? Do you understand that if you buy that, Rudy, if you buy a Lego set, you're right there for Wizards of the Coast. It's all their product now, right? Because just like Magic the Gathering connected itself to Dungeons and Dragons, just like Fortnite connected itself to Dungeons and Dragons, just like Funko Pop connected every single Funko Pop they ever made to Dungeons and Dragons, just like Creo connected itself to Dungeons and Dragons, right? It's already Dungeons and Dragons. You don't escape Wizards of the Coast by going to Lego. Lego is just Dungeons and Dragons components. You don't get that. It's just our miniatures and our terrain now. You can't escape because you can't understand it. And this is the part I love. Everybody bemoans WotC, but doesn't even understand WotC. They don't even understand how far the reach of Dungeons and Dragons has gone, right? And he'll know 5 years from now, everything you hear, right? I was telling you 5 years ago that Dungeons and Dragons could transform your life and the culture you live in. I was saying that 5 years ago. This year, Joe Manganiello said it to you, right? I'm telling it to you now. Rudy will weep when he realizes it 5 years from now. Every single word, that's my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing. Have a wonderful millennium.